Alright, so the topic is loops. So what's a while loop? So while loop just repeats as long as the condition is true. So right here in our syntax we have while, then inside the parentheses we have our condition. Inside the brackets in our block of code we have code runs while condition is true. So right here we have an example of a while loop. So our integer, our variable I, has a value of 1. So inside the while loop we have our condition, which is I less than or equal to 5. And right here in our comment, we have loop runs while I is less than 5. So this will always run until I becomes 6. And that's why we have the increment I here. We have the increment operator here, I plus plus. So this means that I starts with 1, the I increments each time stopping when I becomes 6. So say I print this, we have count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4, count 5, until stop at 6. So if I get rid of this whole increment thing, well, it will just be an infinite loop because I, which is equal to 1, will always be less than 5. So just keep on repeating count 1, count 1, count 1. So what's a do while loop? So a do while loop, just like the while loop, except it always runs at least once, then repeats while the condition is true. So we have our syntax right here. We need to have the word do, the top, the body. So we have our first statement, statement 1, statement 2, statement, or our last statement, is our body. And at the end, we have our while loop, and we have our condition. But this time, we need to have a semicolon. The original while loop didn't need a semicolon, so be careful for this one. For the do while loop, it does need a semicolon. So here in our do while loop, we have do and while at the bottom, and our condition. So what this means is that our block of code is going to run once even if I, our variable, starts with a value of greater than 5. So this is always round once, and after that first run, it checks the condition and continues if true. So let's say, of course, this is just like the while loop. You keep adding on. However, let's say I put this to 6, right? Something greater than 5. I'll just print out count 6. However, if there's just a regular while loop, it wouldn't print out anything. But with the do while loop, it will at least print the first run and continue if the condition is true. Only with a for loop. So for loop is a loop in which you know the amount of times you want it to repeat. So here's a syntax for, and then we have initialization, condition, and update in our block of code. So here's our for loop. So you have int I equal 1. So next one we have I less than or greater to, or no, my bad, I less than or equal to 5. And then we have I, the increment operator, which increases by 1 each time. So here in our column we have loop runs from 1 to 5. In our block of code we print out count. So this would just print out, count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4, count 5. So it's basically a more efficient way of the while loop because, well, it's better for knowing how many loops you want it, how many times you want it to loop. So int I equal 1 is an initialization part, and then I less than or equal to 5 is the is the condition, and then I plus plus is the update. All right, thank you.